Shara. Welcome back to Black Girl Goals and Things, where we have girl talk, we talk about therapy, we talk about faith, and now I'm going to be adding in the PhD series. So, y'all, in my last video, if you haven't watched it, I gave a life update. I am back in school. I am a doctoral student at Baylor. I'm so excited and I am so pumped. I am so grateful, so blessed to be gifted this education. And I say gifted because it is a fully funded program, okay? So, this video today is going to be talking about the journey. And y'all know I don't like to make long videos, so it may be in different parts just because I like to keep the attention span um, in a good place, okay? So, let's just get into it, okay? Now, if you watched the last video, you may have heard me say that I was thinking of switching careers. I had gotten to a point within this profession, within social work, where I said, you know what? All right, I'm coming up on about 10 years in this profession. I think I'm ready for something different. This was nice, this was cool. You know, I made a difference in people's lives. My life has been transformed to different since being a social worker. And I just was ready to be challenged and to do something else, you know, tap into something that was my plan, what I had on my bingo card for life. And I was going to go back to school to become a registered nurse, probably, you know, being in the NICU or something like that. So that was my plan. So I was on track talking to everybody I know, whether it was family or people I'm going to school with or friends that were nurses, and really like getting the skinny on how to go and go for something like that, right? Now, y'all, in the meantime, I had applied to this PhD program. Okay. I was encouraged to apply. I was talking to someone else that was in the program, and you know, they were just like, listen, you miss about 1,000 shots you don't take, just go for it. Why not, right? And it's not that I did not have an interest. I always had an interest, but God knew that if I was going for a PhD, I was not paying for it. Okay. So I was not searching and choosing something that I was going to have to pay out of pocket. And, you know, obviously he wanted me to do this because here I am doing it and not paying a dime. And I'm blessed by that. So I don't have a script for y'all, like I said in my last video. So I'm just going to be flowing, okay? So here's the thing. I wanted to switch careers. I was feeling unfulfilled. I felt like I got to the point where I was like, okay, I got to a level where I was like, I think I'm done. I think it's just time for something new. And I was okay with that. I was going to keep all of my credentials. I worked hard for my licensures and I was going to keep all of those things active, but I was ready just to do something different. So a part of me was thinking about law school, a part of me was thinking about nursing, and I was like, I really was kind of pressing the gas more on nursing. God was like, no, sis. Good luck, but no, okay? And let me tell y'all, being in social work was not on my bingo card. Was not something. I didn't always want to be a social worker when I grew up. If you watch videos from long time ago, I used to clown this profession. I used to be like, who wants to be a social worker? You know, the famous lines we always hear, who wants to remove people's kids? Who wants to do all that? That's this, whatever. In my young-minded self, studying what I was studying in college, I thought, yes, this is the best, this is elite, whatever. We're beyond this, we're above this, whatever. Lo and behold, God was like, yeah, you don't even know that you're going to be a social worker one day. So me getting my master's, God literally told me what school to apply to, what program to apply to. And the reason why that is key is because I had looked at the school that I went to, didn't see anything on there. And I was like, yep, I guess I'm just not going to pursue being a therapist because I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling going the route to like getting a master's in counseling. And I was like, you know what? I have a trade in business. how about I just step back into that and just go and get an MBA, go and, kind of mesh that together with finance or whatever, and kind of just go and do what I had planned a long time ago. No, he literally chased me down for like 8 days straight in confirmation of where to go, what to study. Applied to the program, got in, did the master's thing, took my licensures, all the things. Everything about my life has been led by the Lord. Any times I have deviated did not end well for me. So when I got this master's degree, I got all the licensures, yada yada, opened up the practice or did all my work experience that I wanted to do before prior practice. God was just opening all the doors. And for me, in my life, and all of us, if you are a believer, you know when God speaks to you, you know when he utilizes the Holy Spirit and vessels and things like that to get messages across to you. And for me, anything that God has had for me has been smooth, was never stressful, was never forced. I literally felt like I was walking on a red carpet. Anything that he has had for me, not me deviating off and detouring and all that stuff I'm doing I want to do. He, whatever he had, I literally just walked into it. And so that has happened every step of the way up to this point. So with this doctoral program, I had a short amount of time to get everything in. Now, funny thing is, I had applied to another program about 2 years ago, but I wasn't quite ready. I had a lot of life stuff going on, and I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to show up as my best self to even do it. So I had, again, got invited for an interview, but I withdrew my application because I had to be honest with myself and just say, you're not in a space for this. There was other things that was a priority, and I had to go for that. But I kept feeling since then for like 2 years that I needed to be back into the academic space. I just kept feeling in my spirit, like, I don't know if I need to go and get another training. Maybe I need to switch up my niche. Like, I just felt appalling, like I was supposed to be in this academic space, but I didn't know what that looked like. And I didn't know. And then I was like flirting with the idea of going to get a PhD, and I was just like, I am not paying for it. I already got the loan. I'm good. And so the Lord just kept putting people in my life, like on my path, whether that was just us having one conversation or we begin to develop, a relationship, like a friendship or something like that. Like putting people in my life that looked like me, that was getting their PhD, getting into programs, all the things. So now the pressure is on because I already have the stirring in my spirit about feeling like feeling like I need to be in this space. But then he started to put people in my life that was going on a journey, and they were getting it. They were, fully funded, or they were getting fellowship or a scholarship or some way to make it doable for them. Or they had a great job and they had good benefits to be able to go and do something like that. So now I'm like, okay, it's all in my face, right? And so many people was like, come on, you should try, you should do it. And I just wasn't feeling it. I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, I am cool. Like, I will figure out what it is and continue to seek him. But me paying for it, I never felt like that was supposed to be my thing. So fast forward, I was able to have a conversation with a student, and was just encouraging and was just like, you should go for it. And so as I'm pulling together my application, like the materials and everything, and I had to do a paper and had to scramble and contact my school that I got my master's from to get access to some assignments, because for me, all of my stuff was on a laptop that was not working anymore. And I should have did the old school way of saving things to flash drive, but now I have one. So I had to pull things together. So it was like, have your writing sample that you already did. You got to write your like admissions essay, had to get the transcripts right. Then I had to take a statistics test, even though it was open book. I had to take a statistics exam. to get in, you had to score B or higher. And it's funny because when you are applying for schools and you are answering questions that's on the for admissions, like first of all, when you're applying to any place, you need to look into what they're about. And for me, for the social work program, I wanted to look at everything. Like what does your BSW look like? What does your MSW look like? What does the PhD program look like? Who do you guys have as a faculty? What's the mission behind the school? Well, I need to dig all into it. What are the things that you guys are doing? And not only to do that so that I can see how, kind of curate my writing sample around a lot of that stuff, but I need to feel like, well, I fit that. That aligns with me and my life and my values and all of the things, right? I did a deep dive. And so there was one professor's name that stood out to me, and I was just like, I wonder why that name is familiar to me. So as I had to contact my school, my alma mater, where I got my master's, I was going through a writing sample because I'm like, okay, do I need to kind of like have somebody review this? I want to, it was graded and all that. It was from my research methods, one of my research methods classes, and I was like, oh, I wrote this so long ago. Like, I just want this to be, I want everything to be up to par. And so I'm going through it and this name pops up and I'm like, no, this can't be the same person. I'm like, maybe it was just, and I didn't really double check, like look back at the faculty page and see, wasn't sure. Then when I got to the statistics exam, they allowed us to review some material to kind of help us refresh ourselves before we took the exam. So a lot of those materials were of classes that were past classes that were taught that went over the material. And lo and behold, the professor that was the classes were recorded was the one who has the last name that was mentioned in my paper. Basically, I used their research, and there was also obviously a faculty. So I was like, what are the chances? So at that point, I double checked and I was like, I cannot believe that a scholar that I used in my paper for my research methods class is of a scholar that's at this program that I'm going to apply to that teaches here. That was like ding, ding, ding for me. I kept that noted. Once I applied, I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to apply. I'm going to put my best foot forward. I worked diligently, quickly, because I didn't have that much time, quickly to get it in. Then I got invited to the interview. So I'm like, okay, well, I've been at this point before. So what are you going to do, Sashira? Are you going to go through with the interview or are you going to withdraw? I went through with the interview. Now, preparing for the interview was another thing. I was on YouTube preparing questions. I was asking anybody that I know who were recent graduates of doctoral programs, who were currently in one, like looking over the questions, like, okay, should I prepare for this? Should I prepare for this? Am I missing anything? I was doing my homework. It was a lot of work. This was nothing like you just slap together and just say, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna. No, there was a lot of work, a lot of really thinking about these questions, really think about my answers, practicing so that it's natural, making sure that what I am responding with is matching me and it's natural, it's flowing. It's not like commercial and proper, that it's flowing. So I did that. And the professors that interviewed me were amazing. And my interview was so empowering that I felt like even if I didn't get accepted into the program, it encouraged me to apply somewhere else. I was like, at that point, I was like, no, I'm doing this. Now, if it's not here, I am doing this somewhere because I am just that encouraged. So then there's a waiting period. So I'm like, okay. And literally, y'all, right after I had my interview, I went right to Bible study. I was like, I'm carrying on like normal. I'm not missing church. I'm going to Bible study and I'm going to keep on going. And I didn't tell anybody. The only people that knew that I was applying was the person who encouraged me to apply, my husband, me, God. That's it. I ain't tell no fan. I ain't tell nobody until I got in. Like literally, when I got in is when I made my phone calls and was like, guess what? So I waited for about a month, a couple weeks or so, like close to a month, and then I get the email. And this email is not like it touched right then and there. You gotta click into something else. So I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh, just let me down slow, right? And clicked it and confetti, I got in. So I was in shock. Like I couldn't believe it. And I think ultimately I was like, wow, God, like, you is not playing about me being a social worker. Every time, y'all, I want to like skedaddle, he's like, no. And I truly believe that things probably would have gone really well if I went to pursue nursing, but I would, whatever I was looking for, I still wouldn't have found it. I believe that I know that I would have still felt the same way, that ultimately at the end, it would have all been a waste. All the prereqs, going, trying to do this route, do that route, whatever, spending the money, it would have all been a waste. And this is why you have to trust God. You have to go and you have to be consistent. And you have to be in his face about what he has for you, despite what you feel, despite what's going on, and talk to him about that. If you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're talk to him about that. And this is why. And I learned that you have to be persistent and you have to be consistent. That's one thing I have to continue to do, is be persistent about what I pray for. Sometimes I pray for something, I'm like, okay, well, I prayed about it, but I'm not constantly in his face about it, right? So that process taught me that. So, okay, I told you about the professor who researched. I was like, okay, as I look back, I'm like, wow, that was telling. The interview was really amazing. It was telling. I was like, and when I reviewed all of their faculty, I was just like, these are some amazing people. Like, they're like, I would love to be taught by them. Like, amazing, doing amazing work. Then I got the chance to talk with the chair, so the person that's over the whole program, and he has shared with me that there were two different people that wanted to essentially mentor me and hopefully, if all goes well, be my chair, right? For dissertation and all that. Two people. So he said, well, did you review this person? And I was like, no, that name, because I had looked at the faculty, but I only really paid attention. I skimmed through, but I really paid attention to people's research interests that I was like interested in. But this one name he said, I was like, you sure that's on there? And I'm asking him, like, you sure that's on? Because I looked, and y'all, why did this person do so much work in my city? Number one, taught at the school I went to for bachelor's, got their MSW at the same school that I got my MSW, and I was like, God, no way. No freaking way. So when I get down there for the orientation, I'm talking with, at that point, they had just decided to put me with another person. Cool, great. So I'm talking with them. We're having lunch, getting to know each other. And this professor walks over and was like, I'm here to see her. Talking about me. And we get to talking, and I was just like, and, they were like, I couldn't wait to meet you just because of so much of the overlap of our lives, even though they're way, way, way older than me, but we were like following the same path. And I said, I was just meant to be here. This was all God. I was meant to be here. And at that moment, I was like, okay, God, I get it. I got it. And I know you're going to continue to do more things that I probably can't even fathom. But right now, in this moment in my life, you orchestrated all of this. And I would have not wanted to forfeit this in any way, be rebellious or anything, because it was such an amazing, beautiful experience. For me being encouraged to go for it, for me, the fact that I was able to talk with an old professor of mine to do the recommendation, like I needed so many recommendations. So talking with people about it and them being so proud of me to go for something like this and be encouraging and just extending their support. It was just like, it was an amazing, it was like I had to work very diligently, but it was just God. It was just so many signs, so many things. And I can say that when I had got accepted, I could not wait to see who else got accepted. And so I'm like, oh, when are they? So, after you get accepted, you give like a bio and all the things so that they can kind of introduce your coworker. Even though we was all going to meet each other, but just beforehand. And got all of that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Look like some cool people, dope people doing some great work in social work. And so when we got together in person, it just all made sense again. Like, we just fit so well. And it's just so beautiful and funny how life is, where you live in your own bubble, in your own world, in your own city, and you probably have never left there, right? Or never may have gotten a chance to travel or do all the things. And then you get an opportunity to do that. And then you come together with people, a community, whether and it's in a shared space, like a shared liking, an interest, and all the things. And you just see like how no matter what we look like, we all are going to be on this journey, and we're all going through this at the same time, and we're going to become a family, and we're going to be like the only people who are going to understand what it's like to do this. And the fact that we know that we were prayed over, like the applicants were prayed over fervently, um to, for them to make the decision to make sure that we were the right people for this program. It showed that whole week that we were there. And I just wanted to share this experience with anyone who may be in a similar boat of feeling unfulfilled with what they're doing or where they are in life, and just encourage you to go to God about it. There is no fancy way, y'all, to do it, but just to do it. To go and take your frustrations and take your unfulfillment and take your questions and take your why you couldn't let this and why not this, and patiently wait, but be persistent in asking, and watch what he shows you, right? He created us to have a certain level of intellect, which is amazing and is beautiful, but his ways is above our ways. Like, you may have had an idea about something, but when he comes through, you're like, I wasn't expecting that, or I didn't ask for that, or I am I deserving of that? So that's why it's also important to include him in everything. Don't just go when you just have money issues, or when you have issues with your job, or the common things that a lot of people are. Go about every single thing, and please remember that your life is not your own. And I keep mentioning that because, y'all, I keep telling y'all that I didn't want to do this. I did not want to be a social worker. Okay, like, I know I don't walk around like, yeah, I don't want. No, it's a part of my testimony. It's a part of me sharing this good news and talking about God and like what he has done in my life, because this is a part of his will for me, was to do this and to do what I'm doing. And I'm darn good at what I do. So me adding this PhD to my plate is beautiful in itself, and it's gonna be very challenging because it's pulling me and it's stretching me, and that's cool. We all should be challenged, but it's preparing me for what he has. Where I have no idea, but I know that the work that I'm doing, that I want to do, the continue, is going to be life changing. So I'm going to wrap up soon, but just to talk a little bit, I'm going to be studying family violence. So specifically, I want to know and get to know all about adult survivors who have witnessed domestic violence in their childhood. I want to know what came of their life. What did they turn out to be like, being exposed to a specific trauma like that. And in my profession, when we talk about child maltreatment, we talk about child abuse, you hear the common things of physical abuse or sex abuse. No one talks about kind of like this unforgotten population, which is these children who are exposed to domestic violence, right? Then they grow up, but what do they grow up and be like? So I want to talk to that person, but that little girl, little guy is in them, but I want to talk to them in their adulthood and see what came of their life. So, doing the dissertation is one thing, but my life's work surrounding that is going to be for how many years God have me to do it. So that's it, y'all. This is going to be a series, so I just kind of wanted to just get it all out and hope that this is encouraging, and I look forward to sharing with you guys more about my journey. Talk soon, y'all.